Don't wander into any restricted areas.
If I need you, I'll send for you.
Oh, you need me. You know you need me.
I've yet to hear anything of note on SSNN. Let's hear your report.
Not a single hitch. David Barron should be running the story any minute.
Good. David won't be able to resist a story like this. He'll do some preliminary confirmations, which will be enough to get the broadcast out to the public. And how did the neuroamp perform?
It was useful. It was useful once, and then it wasn't very useful. I never had any need of it.
That's unfortunate. Although a true testament to your skills as an operative, I can see how relying on such technology may not be for everyone. So now it's just a waiting game for SSNN to break the news. Once the story airs, we have another board meeting scheduled to decide how to handle Infinity.
Go ahead.
Hostile takeover.
The SSNN broadcast has started. Shall I patch it through?
Yes, thank you.
Infinity Ltd. and Lucas Drexler are currently under investigation for a number of violations, including murder for hire.
They already have a map. I don't know why they couldn't have just given me this map.
Authorities representing the UC and the Freestar Collective have been dispatched to a consolidated mining station and the clinic. Both locations are believed to hold numerous victims. Drexler's motivation appears to be an attempt to launch a new product based off stolen information from a competitor. The details on the project itself have yet to be confirmed, but it's believed that Masako Imada, CEO of Ryujin Industries, may be involved.
Wow.
A series of communications between Drexler and Imada were discovered, where she encouraged Drexler to ignore approval guidelines for human trials.
Wow.
This has been David Barron for SSNN.
Impossible. You set me up.
I had nothing to do with this. For all I know, it's the truth.
You expect me to believe you're simply an unwilling pawn in this?
Someone has it out for you, but it's not me.
We'll find out soon enough. Assuming I know exactly how this situation came about, I have only a few things to say. Should Ularu run this company, the reputation of Ryujin Industries will change dramatically. Her unchecked tactics will be heavy-handed, involving murder without question of both the innocent and the guilty. Ryujin may gain financial success, but the percentage is not worth the real cost.
Oh, she might be right. $10,000 isn't enough to sell my soul. Halaru is going to be good for Ryujin. The company will always come first.
But she's... It's true. Ularu's always put Ryujin first, and I can't argue that. Even with her aggressive tactics, she'll keep Ryujin at the top for decades to come. I encourage you to speak to the board members. We'll be having the meeting shortly to determine the fate of Infinity Ltd. And now, I imagine, myself as CEO. We must receive at least 50% of the vote. I trust you'll be able to sway them to make the right decisions.
That's a lot of credits. And XP. Executive level. Hey, boss.
I take it Masako wasn't as pleased to hear the SSNN broadcasts as she thought she'd be?
She never saw it coming.
Of course she didn't. And now she's going to have some serious regrets about holding this upcoming board meeting. Which brings me back to you. Masako wants us to acquire Infinity Ltd, which is obviously not on my list of things to do. I need you to persuade the board members otherwise, and make sure they're on our side when I move to vote Masako out.
The acquisition has benefits, qualified employees, contracts, etc. I agree, I think the acquisition is a good idea.
You don't think I've weighed those possibilities? Actually, perhaps I was a little overzealous. Being able to pick and choose the talent as I see fit does have plenty of benefits, and I could hold the garnered good faith over Viv for years to come. All right, I'm convinced. But if this turns into a mistake, I'm holding you accountable. Just get the others on board. The internal neuroamp essentially guarantees success.
I don't need the neuroamp to persuade the board.
As long as you get the results I'm looking for, I don't care how you do it. With Masako out of the way and the internal neuroamp finally ready for production, Ryujin Industries will be set for life. Or at least until I retire.
Aren't you concerned about the internal neuroamp and how powerful it is?
Of course not. We have the means to keep a close eye on tech like this. And if need be, we can dictate exactly who receives one.
This is what worries me. No, I'm going to move to ban the neuroamp. It's too powerful.
Don't be absurd. If you cared anything about the success of this company, you'd know how important the internal neuroamp is.
The moment someone replaces the internal neuroamp, or the moment someone replicates the neuroamp, Ryujin is in jeopardy.
I admit you make a good point. Even with the shielding component, it's always a matter of time before someone replicates the work. And we absolutely cannot allow our own tech to be used against us.
Exactly.
Should you propose to halt research, I will back you. But once the right questions can be answered, the internal neuroamp will be revisited. Now get out there. You have votes to secure.
Oh, Laru, you have not realized how the tables have turned. That I am now the master. You are my puppet.
I'm glad we're making an effort in our appearance today.
Hey, Lyndon.
Just the person I wanted to see. I want to get all the details locked down for this meeting, and I believe you to be one of the best sources available.
I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Good. I prefer first-hand feedback when available. You've had the chance to encounter members of Infinity Ltd throughout your assignments here. Do you think they're worth redemption? And why?
Good question. The majority of those workers are innocent. They didn't know what was going on.
Oh, I didn't mean in regards to Drexler's actions. More in the sense of, should a superior company like Ryujin make room for so many potentially lackluster employees?
We'd be getting employees at Infinity's cheaper salary numbers.
This is true. Infinity never had the financial resources to match our salary offers. Getting what few capable employees they have at half the salary we typically pay here could have major payoffs in the long run.
Exactly.
Next question. What are your thoughts on SSNN's reports that Masako is allegedly connected to Lucas Drexler?
I'd have to see the evidence first.
A good, neutral answer. One that Alexis would be proud of. I find it difficult to believe that our CEO was truthfully involved in such endeavors. I look forward to seeing what Alexis can learn about the subject.
Guilty or not, if someone like Ularu was CEO, this would never have happened.
Yes, Ularu would be a very capable CEO. Her loyalty to Ryujin is unmatched. I appreciate the insight. I suppose I should ask if there's anything I can do for you, considering how helpful you've been.
The internal neuroamp. Tech like that is dangerous and should be banned.
It's only dangerous to those who can't afford one. Hence the added motivation that will bolster sales.
No, you're not listening to me. When a rival discovers how to override it, we'll be in pure chaos and it'll all be on our hands.
I think we all know how averse I am to chaos. Finances are my forte, so you make a good point.
I know.
Our competition has yet to truly master neuroamps, but the possibility is there. It's a risk I am unwilling to take. At this time. This has been rather enlightening for me. I appreciate the time.
You see, I'm enjoying this, the conversation-y bit.
I hope you're enjoying your new neuroamp.
Ha!
And how's my favorite patient doing? Not seeing any temporal memory flashes or losing time, I hope.
I'm not here to talk about my health.
Oh, well, at least tell me what you think of the neuroamp.
Vina, the tech is too dangerous. No one should have this sort of power.
I hope you're not actually suggesting that the technology I spent years working on and perfecting never sees the light of day.
Yes.
This is groundbreaking work. My life's work.
You're a scientist. Hear me out. Let's look at it from every angle.
Fine, fine. Make your case.
Oh, we get a research methods option. Cool. I know you covered all your bases in your research. You know the data against it is there.
Oh, there is adequate data to back what you're saying. More than adequate. Well, this conversation's made me feel like a proper monster. But you're right. In a perfect world, tech like this is used for good. But this world is far from perfect.
Exactly. You're not a monster. You just got lost in the excitement of discovering something new.
It is. It really is. For years, my only focus has been, is this possible? And then, how do I make it work? I never stopped to consider if it was right, or what it would mean. I guess it'll be up to a vote either way. It's not on the meeting agenda, so I assume you'll bring it up yourself? We just have to hope the others will see reason. So the next question is, what will the fate of Infinity Ltd be?
There's bound to be something inspiring on you in their research.
That's what I'm hoping for. They may be the underdog, but that doesn't mean they don't have a brilliant mind or two. I know Masako will be pushing for the acquisition.
That's another thing. I think it's time Alaru took over as CEO. Masako has obviously failed.
I still can't get over everything that's happening, but you're right. Maybe a change of leadership is needed in order to prevent this from happening again. And I have no doubt that Ularu would keep my department fully funded. Well, this has certainly been the most interesting conversation of my day. All we can do now is look forward to the meeting, right? See you in there.
I need another couple for the neuroamp. I want to get this neuroamp banned.
If only
Alexis.
there were more hours in the day. Well, if it isn't my favorite operative, something I can help you with?
I'm just here to make sure you make the right decisions in the meeting.
Choose your words carefully. If you expect me to respond to threats, you're sadly mistaken.
Oh, not at all.
Now, I can only assume you're referring to Infinity Ltd, and there's only one right decision regarding that corporation. Complete dissolution.
Legal issues aside, the pros of acquiring Infinity Ltd far outweigh the cons.
All right, I could use the entertainment. Tell me why Infinity is a good asset.
The business benefits far outweigh any legal issues, and credit's a king.
Have you been spending too much time with Lyndon? There's more to this than just credits.
You can't tell me that negotiating an airtight deal doesn't appeal to you.
I do pride myself on solid contracts, and this one would be especially challenging. Huh. Well, what do you know? I think you just convinced me.
I know.
Talent like yours belongs in the courtroom.
If you want a real legal nightmare, I'd say the internal neuroamp fits the bill.
Don't even get me started. First off, if I find out you used that device on me, I will tie you up in court on whatever charges I can conjure for the rest of your life. Second, that tech is one major human rights violation that no legal team wants to fight. I'll do whatever I can to make sure it's either severely delayed or collects dust in storage.
Good. Agreed. The internal neuroamp should never have seen the light of day.
Well, I'm both glad and surprised to hear the one person who has one say that. Masako is lucky to have you at her disposal, you know? You may be the greatest asset, aside from the internal neuroamp, that Ryujin has.
I agree. Do you think Masako has what it takes to keep Ryujin successful for years to come?
If the board can navigate this current mess without falling apart, I'm certain of recovery. Masako's pulled this company through some rough times. I'm willing to bet she still has a few cards to play.
What do you think of Masako's involvement with Infinity?
To put it bluntly, it's bullshit. This is way outside of Masako's capability. I've worked with that woman for over a decade. Even her more aggressive actions never came close to this.
Interesting.
Besides, if she wanted to acquire Infinity Ltd, there are simpler ways to go about it. This exchange has been surprisingly insightful, but now I really do need to get back to my notes.
Thank you. Ah, Dalton, my good man.
This meeting should prove to be very interesting, especially after that bomb SSNN dropped in their last broadcast. I assume Masako briefed you on her preferred outcome.
Yes, but I refuse to use the internal neuroamp to ensure votes to acquire Infinity Ltd.
Good on you. If it were up to me, I'd have shut down Project Dominion a long time ago. I knew it was a grave security risk, and look what happened.
We saw firsthand how dangerous that tech is. It should never go to the market.
You read my mind. Let's just hope Masako and the others see it that way. Plus, if we vote to acquire Infinity Ltd, we're about to add a significant workload onto my team. The last thing I want to deal with are any more incidents this new neuroamp might cause.
The acquisition is worth the work. I know your team can handle it.
I imagine we're looking at months of work. Infinity Ltd is obviously not known for their security. I only hope that Masako and the others will be patient with the process.
I know you believe in Masako, but after all this, I think Olaru is a better fit for CEO.
You would side against her after everything we've been through? I can't shake this feeling that I too have doubts. Perhaps if you present your argument, I might better be able to understand my own thoughts on the matter.
If you support Olaru, I'm sure she'll be willing to forget a mole ever slipped by security to begin with.
Not that it was a huge concern, but it would be nice to be rid of the shadow it's left.
Misako has brought Ryujin as far as she can. It's time to pass the torch.
I can at least see where you're coming from. I owe Masako a great debt for my success in life. It pains me to admit you're right. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to make sure I'm prepared for this meeting.
Of course. Who's the yes for the neuroamp? Ah, My media relations favorite.
Don't tell me. Masako wants to make sure I'm still on her side after SSNN dropped this media bomb on us?
I didn't realize there was... I'm here on my own.
Mm-hmm. And I don't have an agenda. Look, I know Masako sent you. She knows I want this deal as much as she does. Now that she's been tied to Lucas, buying up Infinity Ltd. only reinforces the narrative. It's gonna be a hard sell to make this look good.
How does buying Infinity reinforce the narrative?
The public is going to see Masako as the grand orchestrator of this mess that Infinity Ltd. Is now in. They'll believe she duped Lucas into performing desperate, inhumane acts, so she could later frame him and tank the company. Buying Infinity Ltd. provides the motive that everyone will be looking for.
You're still helping the innocent workers. If anyone can make this look good, it's you.
Aren't you the flatterer? You're right, of course. I've certainly handled worse. Besides, I haven't had a good challenge like this in a while.
You know, if you really want to keep Ryujin in the public's good graces, there are two things to consider.
All right. I suppose you've earned the right to voice your opinion after everything you've done, qualified or not. So let's hear it.
Do you think Misako can still be trusted as CEO?
Even if the evidence exists to clear her name, it may be hard for the public to dissociate her from what Lucas Drexler has done. In which case, it wouldn't matter if we trusted her or not. We can't have a CEO whose name is synonymous with murder and corruption associated with the Ryujin Industries brand.
I agree. Who do you think is best qualified to take Misako's place?
My preference? We hire from outside. Market the new leadership like a phoenix rising from the ashes. The public will love the idea that we burned the past and are looking at a new way forward.
Competition is more cutthroat than ever. We need a Laro running the company.
Now that's a delicate subject. But our competition really is upping their game. If we want to survive the coming onslaught, you're right. Ularu would be the logical choice.
She would.
And what's your second point to consider?
The newer AMP. The research should be banned.
The possible backlash on tech like this is not lost on me. However, the internal neuroamp will define the next era of tech, with Ryujin at the forefront. It's not an opportunity you just walk away from.
No, you're not hearing me. You'll never be able to fight off the amount of moral backlash.
You're right. The moment you violate your customers' trust, there's a good chance they'll never come back. Even worse, you push them into the hands of your competitors.
Exactly.
Well, it seems your talents really do stretch beyond just being an operative. Good talk. Maybe I'll even consult you on future endeavors.
So you should. I guess it's board meeting time. I can't do any more, and I guess I'll take my seat. I'm getting used to these board meetings. Let's get this running.
To start this meeting, let me just say that the SSNN allegations are completely false.
And you expect us to just believe that?
If they're false, how did this happen?
I'll be ordering a full investigation, but I have my suspicions, which I'll address once this meeting has concluded. Until then, I'm still CEO, and we'll be moving forward with this meeting to acquire Infinity Ltd.
Do you really think we want a potential criminal? One suspected of being the actual mole here, leading a crucial meeting like this? In fact, I propose we remove Masako as CEO altogether, and nominate myself to take her place.
Misako brought us this far, but it is time for Olaru to take over.
You can't be serious.
As much as it pains me to say it, I second the motion. My apologies, Masako, but we've failed here. Perhaps new leadership is what's needed moving forward.
Dalton, you can't seriously believe that.
Agreed. I initially believed we could pull through this, but I think a fresh perspective is necessary to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Any arguments against?
Yes, on the fact that I'm innocent and completely capable of doing my job.
Let's leave it up to the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Well, there you have it. And now, since you're no longer a part of this board, I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
This isn't over.
It's not personal. We only have Ryujin's best interests in mind.
To think I had high hopes for you.
You agreed with me.
Now, Masako. Don't go taking out your shortcomings on our operative here.
Enough with your attitude, Ularu. I don't care what anyone says or what the evidence is. I know you're behind this. And I'll prove it, no matter how long it takes.
Good thing you're going to have plenty of time on your hands, then. Security. Why don't you escort Masako to her office? I'm sure law enforcement will be looking for her soon anyway. Now, let's get back to business.
Smooth.
So, any arguments for the acquisition?
The announcement would garner public faith in Ryujin.
This acquisition is sure to have its financial pitfalls, but as a wise person pointed out, it would have major payoffs in the future. Plus, with their current situation, Infinity Ltd will be more affordable than ever.
Legal ramifications are a certainty, but the benefits far outweigh the disadvantages.
Arguments against? None? All right. All in favor of acquiring Infinity Ltd?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. Not bad for my first meeting. Does anyone have anything else to bring to the table before we break?
I believe work on the internal neuramp needs to be shelved.
And if you could tell the board your reasons? Hello?
I'm looking at my options. The neuramp is basically a mind control device. It should be banned. The moment the public learns about it, no one will trust anyone, especially Ryujin.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but he's right. Regardless of the pros, the cons are too morally and ethically irresponsible to move forward with.
The moment the public gets wind of the true capabilities of this tech, we're gonna suffer severe backlash.
I too have my concerns, which is why I'm more than happy to put this to a vote. All in favor of shelving the internal neuroamp?
Aye.
Excellent. Vina, start prepping Project Dominion for deep storage. Should a proper proposal on handling the complexities around the internal neuroamp ever grace my desk, we can revisit. I almost hate to ask now, but are there any other matters to bring forth? No?
I assume not.
Good. Meeting adjourned.
So much work to do.